Give me a sec. Okay, you can hear me now. Roxanne, can you say something?
Hello.
Hello. Let me know if you can hear Roxanne, everybody. Let me know if you can hear Roxanne. Let me make sure. Okay. Can you hear? All right. Can you hear Roxanne? That's the question. This is always
Test one, two. Test one,
testing,
two.
testing,
Testing.
testing. The good news is we have like Marlene and Colleen are yay. Okay, you can hear me. Can you hear Roxanne? That's the question.
Hi there.
I need you to hear Roxanne.
Can you hear me?
Hi, how you doing, Roxanne?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, they can hear you. Yep. Can you hear me now? Good. Okay, so you missed the part where I was gushing all over Roxanne, so I'm gonna start again. Now Roxanne's gonna be like, seriously, I have to hear this again. So, okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live recording of the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast, where we talk about all of the lessons that we have been taught over the years that are technically bullshit, that we don't need to actually be doing or imposing upon ourselves, so that we can live healthier lives, happier lives, and have more successful businesses. And I am here today with Roxanne Wilson, host of RoxTalks podcast that just dropped today. So go to your favorite podcast player and listener. She's literally on everything. And download RoxTalks. The latest podcast episode is all about my journey at LuLaRich, what I learned from LuLaRich. But as we were having that conversation, I felt very much like I was blah, 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 blah. And Roxanne was asking all the questions, and I was like, no, wait, stop. I love everything that you have to say, and she inspires me like all the time. I mean, I say it to you all the time, but it was actually her that inspired the movement that I'm starting right now. Without what you saying in that podcast, it never would have helped to change my perspective. So that, Roxanne, you're the best. Thank you. Welcome to the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast.
Wow. First of all, thank you for having me. I think you first invited me about a year ago and then said, just kidding.
I did. I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. No, wait, sorry, I don't want you there.
Right, I don't want you on my podcast anymore.
In fairness, I canceled my podcast, guys. It wasn't that I just kicked Roxanne off.
You just kicked me to the curb. She's like, nah, you're
Yeah,
good.
no, it's fine.
No, it's so good to be here, and it means so much to me, Minnesota, that our conversation has spurred what I know is going to be fantastic in you. And I have to say, and when people listen to the podcast, they'll know, like, I think they'll hear it. Your feelings about your journey have definitely changed. The way you frame them has definitely changed in the last week.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, you're so right. Like in the last week, I have gone on such a journey. It happened so fast. Like I was in the beginning not even going to watch LuLaRich because I heard some things and it made me anxious, and I have an anxiety disorder anyway. Sorry, I have cat fur in my mouth. I just didn't want to watch it. But when I talked to you, you gave me such a different perspective on, and you reminded me, it was you and Katie Gunther who reminded me in the first, like, to let go of all that stuff, that I'd done a lot of that work already. So I'm really excited that you're noticing that. Like, I'm psyched because I felt like I went on a journey, but I mean, we don't really know ourselves sometimes.
No, you definitely did the work. And I think it needs to be done because personally, I think that there are a lot of people that have the same feelings that you have about LuLaRich. I have clients who said to me, I'm not going to watch it. And I'm like, let's talk about why you should. And they had nothing to do with LuLaRich. So I can only imagine there's so many people like you, and the fact that you're willing to talk about it and the journey you've gone through is going to be inspiring for so many people, for real.
Well, you know what I want to do for them, what you did for me, and I want us in this call to do that same thing. So I actually want to ask you, go back to something you said earlier, and I know I should introduce you and everything, but I want to dive into this part first because you already said it, and we'll get to your whole story as we go. So you said somebody said to you that they didn't want to watch it, right? And I even said that to you because you asked me, you said, are you gonna watch it? And I'm like, nope. And I said, I lived it, I don't need to, right? In retrospect, it sounds a little flippant, and I felt a little ignorant now saying what I want to do now. I'm like, I probably should watch it because I was in LuLaRich and I do want to be a leader in this space. So I'm watching it. So that's my reason. What in your opinion, why should everybody watch it? Or who do you think should watch this, and why should they watch it?
Yeah, so first of all, if you're in network marketing, you should watch it. If you're thinking about going into network marketing, you should watch it. All of the above should watch it. And I know that sounds crazy wackadoo, especially for those of you who've seen it or you've heard people snippets of it. But the fact of the matter is, it's out there. It happened. It's like if we decided that we're not going to go learn that 2 + 2 = 4, we're just going to ignore it. Okay, yeah. What that makes us, like you said, ignorant. And when people ask us the question, did you see it? What were your thoughts? Especially people who are thinking about joining you in your business, and you're like, no, I didn't watch it. Then the only voice out there is the voice that they got from the documentary, the way they interpreted it. And they're asking you because they trust you enough to hear your point of view. So you've got to be educated. I mean, we've got to educate ourselves in this space for sure.
Oh my God, that's so brilliant. They are trusting you to change the narrative, and if you don't tell them what that narrative is, then they're just going to go with what they see on what they see on Amazon. That is so brilliant. So now you have a very varied background. So you didn't originally start in direct sales. You started in QVC.
Yeah, well, can I go back really fast?
Yeah. No, keep
I
going.
also want to say that we should all watch it because there's some lessons in there that I think we all could learn. Listen, if you're in network marketing, you're going to see some things in that documentary that resemble, that smell like, that are exactly like your company. And there are going to be some things that are great about LuLaRich that you're going to see in there, and some things where you're like, that. Now that I see it on someone else's, like now that I see that outfit on someone else's, I realize that is not the outfit for me. I could go about that a different way. And so we have got to be cognizant of that, because what we have to realize is that people who are not network marketing hear things like business opportunity or work part-time work for full-time pay, and it sounds cheesy McCheesy. But to us, if you've been in the business for over, I would say, like a few months, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And so we start talking in this language that does make us seem like we're crazy. And if we realize and remember what it looks like to others, which we can by watching this, I think it's going to make us better communicators in general.
Oh my God, I love that. Let me come back to something that you said there. You said that oh my God, hold on. Yesterday I was spacing too. Earlier on, you were talking about the language that we use to talk about it, and the things that we say. One of the things I think that we talked a little bit about, I think in the podcast, or maybe we talked about it, we have a lot of conversations, but is this idea that we feel like and I felt this way when I was in direct sales, and even now I find myself defaulting to this feeling of an immediate need to defend, an immediate need to, like, my hackles go up, right? And I feel like I know that's an unhealthy response, because you can't actually have a conversation with someone when you're on the defensive and you feel like what's going on is being attacked. So when you talked about the language, how much do you think that when we get into direct sales, that we start to kind of accept some of this language. We start to kind of speak like everybody else and talk like everybody else, and lose some of our own independence, which isn't really anybody's, like, I'm not trying to blame anybody on this, but, like, how do you think that happens?
I think it happens because when you're part of a clique or a group or a club, having your own language helps you feel like you're more a part of it. I mean, let's be real. I was never in a sorority, but that sororities had their secret handshakes, and I know that shocks you. You weren't no.
I was like, I wasn't in a sorority. No, I wasn't either. I didn't actually ever think about it. But you were not in a sorority. I know that now.
I was not. Secret handshakes, songs, things that they would say, initials, acronyms. Those things make us. Once we learn them, we're like, okay, I'm in. I get it. I know. I mean, even in business, people talk about like KPIs and stuff. Why don't we just say, when we say those things, it makes us feel like we're in the know. So I think that at first you're like, I don't know what any of this means. And then you learn what volume means, and you don't talk in dollars, you talk in volume. Have you ever tried to have a conversation explaining to someone who's not in network marketing how
yes,
you don't like it's volume? We call it dollars, kind of. We're like, oh, what's your volume? But it's not real. They're like, wait, but why don't you just say what it is? I'm like, I don't know. Now that you ask me that,
I don't know.
I had that conversation with the top beauty executive, and I'm like, this is awkward. I don't know. We're talking. I'm like, okay. But I think that's why. So we want to be part of the group. We want to feel like we belong. We feel like if we're coachable, and we learn these things, then what happens is we're going to be amazing in it. And so we take that on, and we forget that that's just not normal speak. And we forget that most husbands don't want to be retired by their wives. Just going to put it out there. It's not. Just put it out there.
One thing, God, you were talking about language. You said you hit something there too when you were talking about nobody else talks that way. I think that you've actually pinpointed there's two things you pinpointed. One is that when you feel like you're part of a group, one of the first things that happens, and this is an evolutionary thing, not a societal thing. Actually, my first degree is in anthropology, so it's really funny to see some of these things happen. The first thing you do is create an other on the outside, right? Because now it's you and them. And this is not an MLM thing or a direct sales thing. This is universal. It happens everywhere. But it'll happen anytime you form a group. And because there are direct sales groups, it forms in the direct sales groups too. And you mentioned earlier how you said if you don't shine a light on it, then you're kind of just walking blind. You're going to run into walls and like all those things. And so so now you've absorbed all this language, you're feeling in the know. How do you think using that same language? So let's say now I'm a retailer, I'm selling whatever the product is. And now I start to adopt the language of the product, like I'm in the know, and I use that with strangers. How does that impact my ability to grow a business?
Oh, it stunts it in a big way because, I think we always think about what and I'm a glass half full type of person. I want you to know that. But that being said, when we do in network marketing, we think, oh, I got someone. I'm going to celebrate the person I got, right? Which is fine and good. But what we don't realize is sometimes what the activities that we're doing, the weird jargon we're using, is actually detracting more people than it is attracting. And so when you think about when we use that language, there are so many people who this is why they don't take us seriously. Like, why don't we use regular bit? You say you're a business, you say you're the CEO of your business, but you don't actually use business language. Okay, that's interesting.
Right?
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it is.
It's a thing that happens.
It's a thing that things that happen. But I think it also stunts our ability to think cognitively, and that's when we start doing. And I can cuss on your podcast.
Yeah, totally, it's fine.
That's when we start doing stupid shit. That's when we start making decisions where we look back and go, why the heck did I do that? And it starts little. It's little like, okay, I'll take this language you said to use and I'll send it to the person I met when I was 5 and haven't talked to her ever again.
I love that you say that. It's like everyone I met since I was 5.
Yes, but it's true. And we start to do those little things and they feel okay-ish. They feel weird, but then we drink more and more Kool-Aid and we don't think for ourselves. And that's when you get people who are like, and this happens, and this is not, they shine a light on it in LuLaRich. But I know, and I know people this happens to all the time who, oh my gosh, I made all this money. I'm going to spend all this money. I'm going to show all this designer things. I've never wanted a designer handbag in my life, but now I'm getting Louis Vuitton luggage and I'm running around the world in this and I'm spending all this money. And then, I'm not focusing on actually building my business because I'm showing about the lifestyle and how I can vacation and Wi-Fi where you work and all this nonsense. And then when people start to stop doing business, because that's normal, people come and go. I have just given myself, which I learned in law school, my constitutional law professor warned us of the golden handcuffs. And in law, that's joining a big law firm, getting, you right out of school getting 6 figures and the money just becomes obscene. And you literally start buying all the things, get the new car, get the new, the condo, the house, the whatever, and then you realize you hate your job. And you hate your job, but you can't leave because of the golden handcuffs. Now, network marketing, I'm not saying people hate their job, but they are making so much money monthly, and they start to depend on that.
Mm-hmm.
And they start to, and when we spend more money, when we make more money, we spend more money. Most Americanos do that,
mm-hmm.
right?
It's very.
And so then the money stops coming. And what do? They're like, crap. And then they become the worst leaders ever. You think they were bad when they were just showing all their options? Worst leaders ever. And this is why I say that, because now they are pressuring downline to do things and like, but fill your bucket even though you're not making money. Recruit. Let's get more people. And you want to leave? She's leaving. We're going to shun her. We're going to act like she is like we never knew she existed. And we're going to go after people who leave. Why? Because we are so in this mindset, this lack mindset, and we're so concerned because we were making all this money, now we're not. I went on a tangent. I know I went.
No, this is great. I want you to keep going. This is good stuff.
And so then we're like, but if you go back to how it started, we didn't want the designer luggage in the first place. We didn't need to have 4 different ball gowns for convention. I would love everyone to go back, and I know right now the last couple years have been virtual conventions, but I would like you to go literally take all your receipts, because you probably should have kept them because you're a business person, and look at how much money you spent to go to a 3 or 4 day convention. It is obscene. The new outfits, getting the hair done, the nails, to parade around for what? To be in a big convention room or a state. Like, I love the galas that aren't really galas because you just sit in your seats and you're all dressed up to the nines. What is that all for? Who are we showing off for? I'm very confused about this. And most people who go to convention are not making enough money to be spending all that money to go to convention. Now, if you want to do that because you love that, that's awesome. But if you feel like you're doing that because you have to, which most people do, it's ridiculous. Okay, I'm done.
I think you hit a couple things that I want to because you and I've talked about this before, and I think that a couple things that you said. First is you said that the golden handcuffs. That is something that I became aware of many years ago when I was in a biotech startup. These issues that we're talking about, the golden, I'm glad you brought it up in the context of law because it exists outside of network marketing. It exists everywhere. The kinds of pressures that exist that we're talking about, this happens when you have the golden handcuffs, and depending on where you are at, whether you're a lawyer or in biotech or whatever, the pressures on you are going to be different, but they're still going to be, the pressures are going to be there. The problem that I think exists, and I don't know, you'll have to tell me if this exists in law, but I know that nobody talks about this stuff in any of the industries. Nobody talks about how this happened in biotech. Nobody talks about how this happens in the hospitals. They don't talk about how it happens in MLM. Do they talk? Well, actually, we bring it up in MLM. We talk about that in a second. Do people talk about those problems like in terms of let's solve the problem, or do they just talk about it? Oh, it's a problem.
When I left law, because I said, I'm out of here, because I realized that if I stayed, I could sit there and go, oh, these people are these people. This won't be me.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a moment. If you're around them long enough, this becomes
yeah.
you. When I left law, I had people secretly reach out to me, afraid to have the conversation. Like, oh gosh, that's so awesome you left. I wish I could leave. Most lawyers want to leave law. Mm-hmm. Most lawyers don't love being lawyers. True story. Not because of anyhow, that's a whole nother. It's not because of the practice of law. It's because of the BS that comes along with it. But then there's the other group of people, like the partners that were like, something must be wrong with you. Are you okay? Do you need to go get help? Because I decided I want to practice law anymore. So it's not, I'm like, now I'm years out now. Golly, I might be over a decade out.
Wow.
No, I'm definitely over a decade out because I left law. And this kind of goes back to your second question that I didn't quite answer. Lawyer, want to be Supreme Court justice, realized that law was not what even though I wanted to be, that since I was 4, Sandra Day O'Connor is my idol, it wasn't all it was cracked out to be. So I decided I need to get out. And I got out by way of a reality show because that's what you do in your law. You get out and you're on TV. So I was
Makes perfect sense to me.
I know, right? I was on season 5 of The Apprentice. I got fired. I made the final 4 and got fired on NBC, national TV, by our former president, Donald Trump, and then went on to write a book about my experience. I traveled around speaking to women's groups about faith and business. Then did a morning radio show in Austin for iHeartRadio. Then went on to do an international shopping channel, and then got in. I was like, okay, I'm burnt out, and everyone's having babies and like having life, and I'm just working like that. And so I took a step back, and that's how I found network marketing. And I thought, I'll just listen and do whatever they say, and I don't have to think. I've been thinking all my life. Amazing. That's what they told me. You don't have to think. Just do what we said. I'm like, okay, I'll try this. And I, from the get-go, like hit all the marks, was going on trips all of Banff and different places in Mexico and even like conventions, all the stuff. Like I didn't pay for any of it. I earned all these trips. It was great in theory, but I'm like, golly, all that stuff I learned from business school and law school and TV, I'm not using that. And there's got to be a better way because I don't love doing all the things they're saying to do. So I started changing it up. And doing what I learned on social media from my past experience, and it was working, and it was more me. Go figure. So I started teaching that to my team and my sidelines and my yes, the network marketing company was in, and there's a scene I mentioned to you in LuLaRich where the only African American
Lachey
talk to yes
Lachey. I love
get on a boat with a bunch of white people. That's what she basically.
I saw that. It was awesome.
I want to be in the middle of the water, and I just thought it was hilarious. Yes, I became oh my gosh, there's a black girl. Let's put her everywhere on everything. True story.
You were the diversity person.
I was the diversity person. See, we're diverse. We've got one. She's there. Big like trips. I was the only one who'd earn them. It was like there's the one, and then there would be 2. There's 2 of us, and the other woman always they'd always call her Roxanne because they, I mean,
yeah.
Anyhow, all that to say, so I capitalized on it. I'm like, okay, you're going to do this, fine. And you're going to, every random consultant that I've never met is going to call me and ask me to talk to their black friend and tell them it's okay to be in network marketing. This is true. And so I decided to help other black consultants and show them how to get trips, show them how to, show them what I did and be a sounding place. We had our own little group. I just helped them because, and what was interesting is I also learned, I've never been in a sorority. I told you that already. So I didn't realize that when you're new and you're like shooting up the ranks, not everybody likes that.
Yeah.
Go figure.
It's true. Not everybody does like that.
They don't like that. So there was a lot of, I got a lot of pushback and a lot of like people, like just crap. People were like, I'm like, I don't even know you, but we're on the same larger team. And I thought, okay, this is a toxic environment. This is ridiculous. This is how it is. Are we real? Really? I don't even know you. Why are you saying these things about me? So whatever. I started helping other people on other groups, and I realized I don't just want to help people on my network marketing company. I want to help everybody. So I took a step back and said, let me show everyone how you don't have to be spammy and ridiculous to do network marketing. You can be yourself, and it's a great place to learn business. It's a great place to get your sea legs. Golly, you want to learn about yourself and do scary things and like grow? Network marketing is the place to be for all of that. I love network marketing.
I just love it.
I just don't love when people like bastardize it. Like, stop bastardizing it. Let it be what it is, and it's amazing.
I think you hit something on the head there where you talked about stop bastardizing it, because like the things that you articulate are really actually important issues in direct sales, and I think that these are the things that you and I have been talking about highlighting, because the ultimate goal for us is to make change, because you guys, like, direct sellers are our clients. We love you. We love direct sales. I love direct sales. I think exactly as you said, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Never. I saw what it did to my dad. I was like, fuck that shit. I don't want to do any of that. And I fell into LuLaRich, and it taught me oh my God, it taught me so much. I learned so much about who I am as a person. I learned about business. I learned about people. I found my calling in life because of LuLaRich. So it's very impactful. But even with all the fabulous stuff, there is still this underlying like negativity. I hate using the word negativity because it has such a connotation, but there's an underlying miasma of grossness. And that exists in a lot of businesses, and nobody wants to ever look at it in any business. I've been in like hospitals, I've been at Harvard, I've been at biotechs. I can tell you, no one ever wants to look at it. I've been in academia. No one ever wants to look at it. And I've never been able to facilitate a change. Well, I always tried to facilitate change and tried to make things happen where I went. But this, like I said, with LuLaRich, this is an opportunity, because those of us, you, me, Brenda, there's a lot of coaches out there who because we have so many clients in so many direct sales companies and we talk to each other, we can see that there is a thread that flows through all the direct sales, I can't say all, lots of direct sales companies, that is solvable. It's a problem that is solvable if we make a few small adjustments. But I think the problem is that direct sellers have no idea. They think that the problem is whatever the people on top tell them. What they don't realize is the people on top started the direct sales company because they were really good at selling. Just because you're really good at selling, and by the way, most of these companies were really good at selling pre-2015, and that is extremely important, because no matter what you did pre-2015, it doesn't matter for shit after 2015, because that's when live started to take over, social media became everything, and people started to rely very heavily on social media to grow their businesses. These are people who grew their corporation before social media, so they don't know how to do social media for a direct seller. So the kinds of stuff that they're training most of their direct sellers to do is stuff that you train people to do if you're Pepsi and have a $5 billion ad campaign. It doesn't work if you are a one-to-one direct seller. And so for anyone who is listening to this, it is so important that we be able to have these conversations without judgment, without anger, without resentment, and assume that the person because we're saying it right out loud, that the conversation we're trying to have is not one of, wow, you're stupid or dumb or your MLM is shit. It's none of that, because that's not what we believe. Yes, that's what everybody else believes. We're not those people. We are trying to facilitate a change because it's 100% possible to do these things, but you can't do them the way that you're being trained to do them right now, because it's for a model that existed before social media and lives, and the world is what it is today. Like, we're operating as if it's 2012, and it's not. It's 2021. Oh, look at that. I did the thing.
I like that. That was pretty impressive. And I hope I don't come off too strong. But here's the thing. I co-sign everything you said. And I think the thing we have to remember too is we lift people up in network marketing because they have a large team. And we assume that because they have a large team, they know what they did and they know how to teach it. And my parents are professors. Not everyone knows how to teach. Even if you know even if you did it, it does not mean you know how to teach it, and you shouldn't be expected to teach it. That's why teachers actually go to school to be teachers. But the other thing is that, like you said, some of them 7 years ago, 8 years ago, what they did, yes, it worked for them right then. But for us to assume and expect them to tell us this is what worked for me, now you do it. This is not realistic anymore. It wasn't realistic. It hasn't been realistic for a while. And so I guess my goal is to help you think a little bit outside of the box. I'm okay with making you feel uncomfortable, and I can't see the comments, so people might be like, so like.
No, everybody's on board.
Okay. But I want to help you think a little bit out of the box, because the opportunity, I'm using the word.
I know, the opportunity, oh my God, when he said it in the thing, I was like, dude, it is a fucking opportunity.
It is. But cheesy stuff like, it's a gift. But I love when these talk like, a gift. I don't understand. I never understood that. But the opportunity of network marketing, I mean, the products are awesome. The fact that you can be the retailer, distributor, consultant to get those into people's hands is amazing, especially in the world we are today. But we have to stop the ridiculousness. Yeah, I mean, like, you haven't said this, and this is nice of you, but I'm going to say it. You and I were talking yesterday, and I was like, she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, why did she say that? Oh, right, because I usually am just like but I was really down on Saturday. I was severely down on Saturday because there were several conventions and launches of network marketing companies, and as a result, the same message was being posted on profile after profile after profile. So Sigmund cookie cutter and ridiculous. Like, no one's gonna read this message and be like, oh my gosh, I need to join you, or I need to buy that product. Nothing that you would ever care about. Just a word vomit of stuff. And then at the bottom of one of it said, that I saw over and over again, is, look at my personal results. And if you slide, the person who posted it, her results weren't behind it. So it was such proof that people were just copy and pasting. And I'm like, haven't we learned? You guys all need to stop going to your convention and go watch LuLaRich, because watching that gets you thinking, oh, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Like, hey girl, hey, when you
my God, I don't like getting messages that say hey girl, hey. Like, I just might,
no.
I judge you.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's like, hey girl, hey. I'm like, please don't say hey girl, hey.
They showed the hey girl, hey videos, right? They showed like a split screen of 3 LuLaRich retailers going, hey girl, hey, guess what we got today? I got you. I've got the and it was like they all started in a similar way, and that's just like the hey girl messages. We have got to start thinking about, who were you before you met your network marketing company? It's like meeting them. Who were you before you started? Keep that person. Yes, learn about the business, learn about the amazing things that the culture, but keep who you are and ask yourself, is that uniquely me? Is that authentically me? And if it's not, don't do it, and know it's going to be okay that you don't do it.
And if it is, then lean into your weirdness and use that to market your product. Because I want to come back to what you said about Facebook, because I want to explain to you why that doesn't work, so that you know, okay? So there's 2 reasons why what Roxanne just mentioned does not work on Facebook. And in fact, I just had somebody lose their account completely, so much that Facebook blocked their IP address. So now they can't even create a new account, because Facebook knows that IP address is trying to start that new account. And so they're SOL. They cannot run their business. And that happens when you do shit like that. And the reason why is because when you make the same post over and over again, after the 3rd or 4th time, Facebook then starts to see that as unoriginal content. And it sees the people who are submitting that unoriginal content as people not creating original content for the platform. Therefore, you are a spammer, or you are not a productive member of the community. So they will drop everything that you post. It doesn't matter whether you post on your profile, your group, or your page. They will drop everything. And that's what you guys call shadow banning. So basically, you've been shadow banned now, and you'll never know it. And it's because of stuff you did that you were taught at convention. There is a way to solve this problem. I'm not trying to, I just want you to know that I actually have, I talked to Roxanne about this. I talked to Brenda. I'm putting together a whole thing and a whole group of coaches that are amazing to help solve this problem, because we think we believe, and we've seen it happen with our clients, success story after success story, that if you make these 3 pivotal changes in how you train, in the way that you rely upon your leaders, because honestly, it is so unfair how leaders are taxed. Like, I was a mentor at LuLaRich. I was at the very top, and I can tell you the pressure that home offices and corporations unknowingly put on their leaders, and they don't understand the kind of damage that it does to them. I don't think this is anybody's fault. Nobody's trying to be malicious. Where everybody's just trying to grow a business. They're trying to grow a business in their own silo, whether you are a corporate office or whether you are in the field, and they don't necessarily talk to each other. And one of the things that we are all skilled at, Roxanne, Brenda, me, is that we are able to translate the needs of the field to home office and then create a solution that works for you. And we've done it, we know it works because we've done it for the last 5 years. Like, we've all been doing it over and over and over again. So just for right now, I want you guys to know, if you feel like you have been, that this is a problem that you're running into, then reach out to your home offices and tell them, forget, it doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be Roxanne, it can be literally, come to me and I'll tell you who to hire, right? There's tons of coaches out there. It doesn't matter who it is. What is important is that the person who they hire to train you understands business, understands marketing, and understands how social media works. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the exact same situation over and over and over again. I'm sorry, I went on my own tangent there.
No, I love it. And you know what the other thing is, you're going to start hating actually working on your business. And this is what I mean by that. There's so many people that are teaching, literally at the one of the conventions this weekend, they said, reach out to 400 people, and here's some language.
Oh my God, Facebook's going to kill you.
That's Facebook jail waiting to happen, first and foremost, but still 400 people. People are being told regularly to this day to post on your Facebook and Instagram literally twice. Oh my, sorry, Scott's calling me. He's not supposed to be calling me. Twice a day. Twice a day.
Oh my God.
Why?
Too much posting, or going live 90 times in 90 days. Whenever I hear that, my heart breaks, because all I hear when somebody says that is they're going to be exhausted. It's not going to work. They're going to burn their market. They're going to break down their Facebook page. And in 3 months, this person's going to hate themselves, feel like a failure. But the thing is, it has nothing to do. All it is the technique you've been taught. You're amazing. The technique is the problem. Sorry, I was going to let you talk to Scott. Is Scott okay?
Yeah, I'm texting him saying, I'm still unalive. But I'm hearing you.
No, I figured. I just want to give you that opportunity. I was like, she's got to run back to Scott. But, and I told us about trainers. Oh, yeah. So, Shawnee, it is really hard to get people to create original content. By the way, we are nearing the end of the podcast, so feel free to ask any questions that you have of me or Roxanne. I want to remind you that we have this conversation before I watched LuLaRich. Roxanne mentioned earlier on that my attitude has markedly changed since I watched, since the podcast. So, I want you to listen to listen to the podcast actually with that in mind, that just because we've all had trauma or problems or issues, we don't have to live in this space. And it's easy to forget, and I forgot. And what's funny is, I think even in the podcast, I say, you don't have to live in this space, while I'm sitting there marinating in it. Like, oh my God.
Don't mind me, I'm just living in the space.
Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just living in the space. You don't have to live here. You don't have to live here. This is my space. It's like, get away. So it's really important, I think, to recognize your own biases, that you may be in that space, whether you know it or not. You could be acting as if you're not in that space and even saying the words that you're not in that space. And yet, here you are.
The box. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So I think that it's so important, like all those things, like posting and, like you said, and going live, that makes you dread going on social media. That makes you're doing all this work and you're like, I put in how many hours and how much money do I make? That's when your spouse or your significant other is like, wait, how much did you make and how many hours did you do? And you're like, oh, if I do that math, I'm making less than minimum wage. I'm making like 20 cents an hour. Mm-hmm. Awesome. I want to do this more. So the advice they're putting, if the advice they're putting out there was great, I'd be like, awesome, this is amazing. But it's wrong. It's old. It's not right. And so it's very frustrating, because I think they're setting up network marketers for failure in ways that are not necessary, just because they want to be the gurus of everything. Like, stop and let's really, and listen, I'm not expecting any leader or any network marketing company for that matter to keep up with all the things that Facebook and Instagram are doing. Because if you just keep up with those two, don't even think about, I won't even call the name because Zucks might be mad at me, but that other one that's like a clock. That's an exhausting job just to keep up with all that, right?
Yeah.
But That's what people like you and I and other experts are for. So lean into that and stop expecting these magical unicorns. Just because the person's at the top of the company does not mean they know everything.
So that is so true. I think that, to what that helps to do is because like what happens, like you were saying earlier, is that, the people are really good at selling, right? And because they're really good at selling, they attract other people join in, your team gets huge, right? Now you're trying to be a leader, you're trying to sell, you're trying to teach other people how to sell. And in any network marketing company, you're going to have three sets of people come in. You're going to have the people who are going to come in, shoot to the top, do really well, just love direct sales. It's going to be great. They're going to stay in direct sales forever. Some people are maybe not do super great, but stay in direct sales forever because they really love the community or whatever. Then you have the second group of people who they're never going to be able to do anything with their business because either they're kidnappers or they come in with the expectation that the product will sell itself and that all they need to do is just post all the same things that their home office is posting and they'll be fine, right? And so those people never really make it because and a lot of people have those people on their teams. And what ends up, and then the third set is people who they join, they enjoy direct sales, and then they realize, I love it, but I think I'd rather work without the framework. I think I want to be independent. And then they go off and do something, coaching or whatever, right? So there's those three buckets. And the key thing to keep in mind is that when you become a leader, home office expects you to do a lot of things that are not in your job description because they don't know who else to give it to because they assume that you know what you're doing because you did well. Now you're overwhelmed. You start feeling like a failure because your sales suffer. Your team starts to suffer. You're paying attention to the people who are complaining a lot because those are the people who take up all your time, and not the people who really you want to be spending your time on, who are your performers or people or people who are trying and who are focusing on the right things. So now, and your job as a leader is to create community, rah rah, train them on like the product itself, like this is the clothing, this is the cloth, this is how you talk about the cloth, this is how you talk about whatever it is. Leave the business and the social media stuff because I'll tell you, Syra and I were a team. Roxanne, this is like crazy. Syra and I were a team. We realized how overwhelmed we were. I had this idea. I was like, okay, you know what, Syra, why don't you take care of all the selling? And I'm going to learn about Facebook. This was August of 2017. I'm like, I'm going to learn about Facebook. It's going to take me about 2 months. I'll become an expert on how we train and teach people how to be successful on Facebook. I'll make a course. It'll take me about a month. We'll have it by September, right after convention. And then we will teach everybody how to do Facebook and we'll run off to the sunset. And it was because I thought it would take me 3 months to figure out Facebook and how
I was like, oh, that's impressive.
and oh, dude, I had to, this is an example of like, and I felt that way because that was the world I had been living in where that was something that was possible. And I was looking for speedy results and that kind of thing. It wasn't until I actually started studying marketing, studying this, that I realized, one, I was just lucky that my gut instinct to the way of doing things turned out to be the right way. Like that was not something that I'd been doing web design my whole life. I'd done a lot of these things, but putting it all together in marketing, I'm just lucky that it happened that way. But I learned how to codify it. And then I realized, oh my God, this is a full-time job. Just learning how to sell online, right? Because there's no way. How would I do this and run a team at the same time, especially if I have like a big team without you? Even with Syra, it was impossible. Like it was hard. And so a lot of leaders feel like failures when they really shouldn't. You're trying to do like 14 jobs.
Yeah, you said something that like triggered something. I mean, you said speedy. Well, I think one of the biggest problems in general is that we have this desire, or we're told, and we believe it could be possible, that I'm going to join whatever fill in the blank Mad Libs network marketing company, and I'm going to quickly make back all my money and make tons of money and do all these things. We want it all really fast. In any business, it's not, you're not expected to shoot to the top quickly. Yes, it happens in some business start, and like next thing you know, they're on the Forbes list, but really that's not realistic. And so if we go into it realizing it's not about the speed, it's about setting a really great foundation and knowing that we're moving forward each time, each day, okay, I'm moving closer to that goal of mine. If we set up that foundation, we stop looking at everyone going, oh, she's going fast, she's doing this, she's doing that, we would have such a more stable network marketing in general would be so much more stable. There wouldn't be so many people talking all this crap about us because we're not sitting there posting things like,
hey girl,
hey girl, hey, do you want to make full-time money with part-time work? That doesn't even make sense. That sounds like a get rich quick. I mean, it does. And if we were honest about it, I I was sitting there the other day, and someone reached out to me and said, "Do you know? I just realized with X network marketing company, everyone has those basic, the certain amount of volume to be
Mm-hmm.
commissionable. Most companies have that, right?" And she said, "Did you realize if somebody hits that and fills their bucket of required purchases for the month and pays for their website, it turns out, and if they just hit that 600 mark was for this company, they make $50 a month.
So if they hit
$50.
everything, they make $15 of cash of like profit.
50 if they pay for their website, doing their required amount of buying product,
Right, got it. They have to
and
respend
they
everything back. Got it. Okay, wow.
and
Okay.
they do they make $50 a month. And I was like, wow. Because we know the average network marketer is not hitting that, or they're trying to hit that. If they knew, hey, if you do all these things and you hit this 600 or 750 or whatever it is, you're only make $50 a month, that's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if we're honestly going to it saying, hey, this is what it's going to be like, but I'm going to show you great business skills so that you have the opportunity to make more than that. And remember also that most people don't join network marketing for the money. Listen, I was sitting there watching LuLaRich, and I have to tell you, I was in awe because the network marketing company I was in did not require a $5,000 to $10,000 buy-in. Okay, people squabble around $100 or $1,000, and you got people all over the country selling breast milk. Yes, that's what they said.
They did. I know people who sold breast milk. I knew it happened. There were a lot of things being sold.
Okay.
That did not sound the way it was supposed to. That came out sounding like, okay, sorry. That, guys, if this can be edited, I can't. It's live. I just want you to know that did not sound the way
It's our minds in the gutter, not
I know, my mind is so in the gutter. I was like, okay, that didn't come out. And okay, what were we saying? People were selling breast.
$5,000 to $10,000 doing whatever they could to make this money to join. You have to ask yourself, what were they buying? Like, in the sense of we're doing this, we're going to take out a loan. Like, that's some power right there. Whatever LuLaRich was like, I don't know what kind of mojo was going on there, but that's pretty damn impressive. And so you think about that and you think people weren't all joining that for the money, for the riches. And they weren't staying because, listen, once you're in there and you're not making money for a while and you don't stay to keep losing money. That's not what you're staying because of the culture. Yep. You're staying because of the camaraderie. You're staying because you're finding friendship. You're learning about yourself, all these things. Gosh, wouldn't it be interesting if we lead with that? Join network marketing so you can learn. This is a great incubator for you to learn about all these things and stop saying you're going to make six figures. Because most of you, if you look at the result, if you look at the national results of direct selling, most people ain't making that much.
And I think most people don't make that much because of the systems that keep them making less. And like, if you start making those changes, like you said, put that strong foundation down, then yeah, your first 3 months, maybe you're not the shooting high rocket star, but in 7 months or 8 months, you have a steady income coming in. You're enjoying your camaraderie. You're not rushing or working all the time. And the thing that I think everybody forgets that you didn't mention, I want to throw it out there, is that if there is a meteoric high, it is always followed by
what goes up
must come down. The more you can have your growth upward become like this, the less unstable your business will be, because when you'll be able to adapt as you go. Oh, well, look, there's a problem. I can adapt. You're never worried about anything. And honestly, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about showing you how to run a business that doesn't make you feel anxious all the time, that doesn't have you living in fear. And you don't a lot of these things, again, we're talking about this in terms of the corporation, and the reason why we're bringing that up is because that's where the solutions can happen. A lot of direct sellers don't know how to ask for this, what they need. And so one of the things that we're doing as part of this initiative, which is Women of Direct Sales, which is very, very exciting.
It has
a name, Women of Direct Sales. We've got the Instagram, we've got the .com already.
Gina, I just talked to you yesterday.
Oh, wait, I'm going to let Brenda tell you about the Women of Instagram thing, because honestly, that story is, when I interviewed Brenda, I'm going to let you hear that. It's amazing. So we've got Women of Direct Sales, and the goal is to educate the field about what it is that you really need and spread the word. And we need to get as many leaders involved as we can, and we get to get as many direct sellers as we can, because the more of you that are educated about what actually runs a business and know what to ask your home office for, the faster we're going to be able to facilitate a change and make a difference. So this is really important. And then I want to ask you for your last thoughts, because I just realized that we went through an hour and I didn't even realize it.
She told me to be 15 minutes,
I
everybody.
totally lied to her face. No wonder Scott messaged her. Is that oh fuck, what was I saying? I was saying, okay, we're gonna train you how to do this. You're gonna ask for your home offices. Oh, because the ultimate goal here is to change the conversation about direct sales and create a more successful environment for all of us, so that everybody's making money, because ultimately direct sales is filling a very important need for many of us. It's not going anywhere, and no one is gonna move, no one's gonna help it make it better by talking shit about it. I just want to be like, that's never actually helped. When I hear my ugly voice in my head saying you're stupid and you're ugly, when I tell her go away, shut up, that never works. It only worked when I said, hey, what's going on, like, why are you hurting, and let's talk through it and let's figure out how we can solve the problem together. My life has been so much happier since then. So Roxanne, what I'd like to ask you sort of is actually, you know what? I'd like to ask you a question and then parting thoughts is, now that you're not in direct sales, you train direct sellers. What would you say is the most important thing that you got out of your time with direct sales?
I would say, personally, okay, first of all, I would say, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to follow the instructions. I learned to trust myself. Trust myself and trust my instincts and trust. My dad always says everything in life prepares you for something in the future. So stop thinking that you don't know what you're doing just because you joined a network marketing company and that whomever is above you knows more than you. I mean, be respectful and learn that, and that's great. Take it in, but also realize you have a wealth of knowledge. I don't care how amazing you don't think you are amazing. And so rely on that and follow your instincts and trust yourself. And my parting thoughts, I want to say this. I love, and you know that the reason I do what I do is to try and be that difference, that change maker, that disruptor that helps, because my time in network marketing has taught me I love network marketers so much, and I want them to see their full potential. I don't believe that this movement can happen unless some pride is like let go of. And so I'm right now talking to the top leaders who've been around for quite a bit and have, after a while, if you keep getting this pressure of, or this you're the leader, you know everything, you start to believe it, because you have to believe it so that you can be it. Um, I'm going to ask you to let go of that pride and realize that it does not take away from anything that you have accomplished or built by saying, I don't actually know the best way to do these things, but I'm open to learning about them. And it's okay to say, gosh, the way we did it before was spammy. Let's call the spade a spade. And I recognize that it's 2021, and so things have to change. It's going to be hard to make this change if the top people who are making the top money don't accept the fact that they've got to let go of the reins somewhat. And the irony of it is, their teams are going to be so much more successful. They're going to have less pressure on personally, which is going to make them happier ultimately as well too. But pride needs to let go of that pride.
That, for me, I gotta tell you, letting go of my pride was hard. And I still find etches of it, and I'm like, ding 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 ding, gotta like break that out a little bit. I love that. It's so, you are enough. You bring, I love that you talked about that. Like, you bring a lot of experience. You totally, like, I love that you brought that up. Um, LuLaRich doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't really. Like, this is an amazing opportunity. Okay, so guys, I really want you to know this. For those of you who are scared, don't be. This is an opportunity. This is an amazing opportunity for us to change the conversation, for us to make everybody more successful. And over the next few weeks, you're going to see more and more content coming out to help you with this. But in the meantime, I want you to know you are absolutely amazing. Do not forget to check out RoxTalks. So Roxanne, tell us, where can we find RoxTalks? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so the podcast, which is live right now, streaming on Apple, Spotify, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts, Google Play, you can go to RoxTalks podcast, RoxTalks podcast.com, and you will see Manissa's beautiful face. Click on there and you can listen and you can watch, because in 6 minutes you can watch it. It's premiering on YouTube as well if you click on that link, and so you can watch it live premiere on YouTube. And then I'm on Instagram. Find me. I'd love to chat with you. Rox Talks, or on Facebook, Rox Talks Podcast.
Roxanne, you were so amazing. Thank you so much for getting up at the butt crack of dawn to be with me here. I appreciate it so much.
Sun is out now, right?
It was